removing a key barrier to higher learning and affirming our belief that education must be a right and not a privilege for every Ghanaian regardless of their physical ability. To give life to our commitment to foster a knowledge-based economy, we've established the Ghana National Research Fund with an initial allocation of 50 million cedis. This is a step towards deepening research and innovation across all sectors: science, technology, humanities, and the arts. For far too long, much of the research conducted by our brilliant academics has been funded by foreign institutions, with the unfortunate outcome that the intellectual property and findings are often owned abroad. With this fund, we will slowly but certainly reverse that narrative by empowering our own researchers and ensuring that Ghana owns the knowledge and innovations produced by its intellectuals. As part of our commitment to research excellence, we offer full scholarships annually to 5 PhD candidates at every university in Ghana. By investing in our thinkers, we're investing in our future and asserting our intellectual sovereignty. In furtherance of our commitments to inclusion and dignity, we have distributed over 6 million sanitary pads to our girl children in primary and secondary schools to keep them in school and help them end period poverty. Contrary to the widespread misinformation that was circulated before December 7, 2024, the free SHS policy has not only been maintained, indeed it has been strengthened. We've made the highest budgetary allocation in the history of the policy, as at now. A staggering 3.5 billion Ghana cedis has been dedicated to the free SHS. We understand that access without quality is inadequate, and that's why we're implementing the decentralization of feeding policy to allow the management of schools to make their own feeding arrangements to provide students with quality meals. Our commitment to foundational learning is equally strong. Basic education has received its highest budget allocation in almost a decade, reflecting our determination to rebuild the educational ladder from the ground up, with 564.6 million allocated so far for textbooks. We're addressing long-standing challenges in the system, particularly those caused by the reduced funding of the recent past. Fellow countrymen and women, we've also turned our attention with equal urgency to the health and well-being of our people. In 2025 alone, the national health budget increased by 13.4%, rising from 15.6 billion Ghana cedis to 17.8 billion cedis, one of the most significant increases in recent years. This bold step reflects our recognition of the urgent need to strengthen Ghana's healthcare system in the face of both domestic demands and global health risks. We've uncapped the NHIL and made 66% increase in funding to the National Health Insurance Scheme from 5.9 billion Ghana cedis to 9.8 billion Ghana cedis in 2025. This is not just a budget line, it's a life-saving commitment. These funds will help expand coverage, improve claims processing, and ensure that every Ghanaian, especially the poor and vulnerable, has access to affordable quality health care. The sudden withdrawal of 156 million in US aid health support, which previously sustained critical programs in malaria, HIV and AIDS, and child health, presented a serious fiscal and public health challenge. In response, we have readjusted our domestic expenditure priorities and ensured that the domestic safety nets are provided to cover the gap that occurred. To further bridge access gaps and enhance service delivery, government is investing over 2 billion Ghana cedis in healthcare infrastructure between now and 2028. This includes an initial 200 million cedis allocation in the 2025 budget to accelerate construction, expansion, and modernization of hospitals, clinics, and health centers nationwide. Whether in remote rural communities or high-density urban centers, our aim is the same: a health facility within reach of every Ghanaian. Cabinet is awaiting a report from the Honorable Minister of Health on the status and stage of completion of the Agenda 111 hospitals to determine a way forward for their completion. Our approach to economic management goes beyond improving the macroeconomic indicators. It's about making the Ghanaian household feel the impact in their everyday lives. As the popular saying goes, the real economy is not in statistics, but in the pockets of the people. And that is why I take pride not only in the clear signs of recovery and stability, but in the direct relief Ghanaians are experiencing from our economic policies. Today, we are seeing a stabilization in the price of goods and services, with inflation dropping significantly from 23.8% in December 2024 to 11.5% in July 2025, the lowest inflation rate recorded since December 2021. But this isn't just about numbers, it's about being felt across markets and homes. The prices of key commodities are falling, and for the first time in years, brands and businesses are actively advertising their price reductions, a sign that recovery is not only real but tangible. Official trade associations have presented data to Parliament that shows that up to 4,500 different items on the market have seen varied price reductions. We've stayed current with our bond repayment obligations. In a significant endorsement of Ghana's economic recovery efforts, global credit rating agencies, S&P Global Ratings, have upgraded Ghana's country credit risk from junk to B- with a stable outlook, reflecting renewed investor confidence and the positive momentum in economic management. To maintain this positive momentum of our economic recovery, we're increasing Ghana's productivity through bold job-creating initiatives, and one of the most transformative among them is our 24-hour economy initiative, a policy that is designed to boost micro and small and medium enterprise, modernize agriculture, and expand employment opportunities across key sectors. This initiative is not just about keeping the lights on longer, it is about unlocking new shifts of productivity, widening access to jobs, and building a resilient, inclusive economy that works for all. Only yesterday, Cabinet approved for onward submission to Parliament the 24-hour authority bill. Already we're seeing key institutions take the lead in actualizing the 24-hour economy vision. The Ghana Publishing Company has transitioned to a full 24-hour operation. The Passport Office and Ghana's foreign missions have also rolled out round-the-clock services to expedite passport processing and improve service delivery. At our ports, both Tema and Takoradi are now operating 24 hours to boost trade efficiency and reduce congestion. To guarantee safety within this evolving ecosystem, a dedicated 24-hour economy policing secretariat has been established in the Ministry of Interior to provide continuous security support across the country. These bold steps signal a clear national commitment to building a resilient, inclusive, and job-rich economy. To ensure legal and operational readiness, Cabinet has approved critical amendments to the GIPC Act and the Labour Act, which now include provisions that enable and regulate 24-hour economic activity. These legal reforms will ensure that businesses, investors, and workers alike are supported by a framework that protects rights while encouraging innovation and growth. Complementing this agenda, we have rolled out the Jumara program and the National Apprenticeship program, both of which are expanding pathways to employment, particularly for our young people and artisans. These programs are equipping thousands with the skills, tools, and opportunities they need to succeed in today's job market. Thousands of young Ghanaians are currently undergoing training under the 1 Million Coders program, our bold strategic initiative to build Ghana's digital talent base and prepare our youth for the jobs of the future. This program is equipping participants not just to access digital jobs, but to create sustainable employment opportunities through innovation, entrepreneurship, and global ICT competitiveness. Additionally, in the extractive sector, the Gold Board is formalizing Ghana's gold trade. As of today, gold trading is a reserve for only Ghanaians. This strategic move will help maximize national benefits, enhance transparency, and ensure that the wealth generated from our natural resources is reinvested in our communities and national development. We're also taking decisive action to protect our environment and natural resources from destruction. A dedicated national task force is currently in place, actively combating the menace of illegal mining. As a result of their operations, hundreds of excavators, water pumps, and other heavy equipment have been seized, disrupting the networks that have long exploited our lands and our rivers. In addition to enforcement, we are reclaiming what has been lost. 9 forest reserves have been successfully recovered from the grip of illegal miners, restoring these vital ecosystems under state protection. Our Tree for Life initiative is being actively rolled out across the country, targeting the restoration of lands degraded by illegal mining activities. Steps are currently underway to repeal LI 2462 to formalize our commitment to end mining in forest reserves. Let me be clear, since my administration resumed office, not a single license has been issued to any company to mine in our forest reserves. The repeal of LI 2462 is therefore intended just to crystallize in law what we have already demonstrated in practice, which is our commitment to protect these forest reserves. My friends, I understand that public accountability and the recovery of looted state resources are at the top of your expectations from my government. And let me assure you, my fellow citizens, that we've not wavered in our commitment for even a moment. Neither have we been complacent. What you are witnessing is not inaction, it is our steadfast adherence to due diligence, due process, and fairness in the pursuit of justice. Yes, our insistence on doing things the right way may afford those who have looted this country some temporary relief, but let me be clear, it will not grant them permanent escape. Across multiple fronts, active pursuits and prosecutions are well underway under the Operation Recover All the Loot. Over 200 cases are under active investigation, with about 80 people interrogated so far. Several prosecutions have begun, progressing steadily and remaining firmly on course. In the Republic versus Edubuan and 3 others, the state has submitted witness statements together with all other documents, and trial has commenced. And the first of 3 prosecution witnesses have been called and have been cross-examined by counsel for the accused person. With the SkyTrain case, for instance, the prosecutors have secured a trial date, as all preliminary matters have been concluded and the trial is set to commence. For the National Service Authority case, due to its expansive nature, charges have been drafted and will be filed as soon as the legal year begins against the following person: the Republic versus Osei Sibe, the Republic versus Eric Nyaku, the Republic versus Gifty Owari. Also for the National Cathedral, we are awaiting a forensic audit from the Auditor General. Additionally, charges have been drafted and are ready for filing in the case of Republic versus Wuntumi and Akunta Mining. The Economic and Organized Crime Office, IOCO, is finalizing its report with respect to Exim Bank transactions. Dockets are in preparation for the buffer stock case and the drip equipment case. Investigations are ongoing into the African Cup of Nations case, the Mart Set case, and approximately 20 other cases currently. Let me be clear, every single case of corruption that needs to be investigated is being looked into. And once evidence is found to ground the prosecution, that will happen and happen swiftly. Looking within, we launched a code of conduct for public officials with an insistence on strict compliance. A high-level working group has been inaugurated to draft a new anti-corruption strategy aimed at strengthening ethical governance and institutional coordination. My fellow citizens, the scourge of Galamsey is receiving much attention. We've established the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NIMOS, as the Central Operations Command Center coordinating the national fight against illegal mining and its associated environmental degradation. In a coordinated effort across all security agencies and the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, 440 excavators have been seized. Over 1,400 arrests have been made, with suspects awaiting prosecution. Over 300 Shamfang machines have been confiscated and destroyed. Over 900 water pumps seized from illegal mining sites have been handed over to the Ministry of Agriculture for distributing to farmers for irrigation purposes. Of Ghana's 288 forest reserves, 44 had previously suffered varying degrees of destruction from illegal mining. Notably, 9 of those reserves had become no-go zones due to the presence of armed groups. Through the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources and with support from the security agencies, we've successfully repossessed all 9 of these red-zoned forest reserves. However, over the weekend, the Jimira Forest Reserve and the Anwia Futu section of the Ofinch Shelter Belt was re-invaded by illegal miners after these were handed back to the Forestry Commission. The military is currently working with NIMOS to repossess those reserves and establish a permanent presence in those liberated forest reserves to prevent re-incursion by illegal miners. 980 personnel have been recruited, trained and deployed in the western and savannah regions. They conduct daily operations on major river bodies, serving as community vanguards to ward off illegal mining activities. An additional 1,020 personnel will be recruited and deployed by the end of the year, bringing the total force to 2,000 Blue Water Guards. The next phase will focus on dechemicalizing and restoring our water bodies to their pristine state. Feasibility studies for this critical restoration efforts are currently underway. In collaboration with the Ministry of Transport, the Ministry of Finance, GRA Customs Division and the Ports and Harbours Authority, we've instituted a system for the proactive tracking of all imported excavators and earth-moving equipment from the port of entry. 1,200 excavators are going through the permitting process from the Transport Ministry, clearance from Customs registration with DVLA and tracking at the Minerals Commission. So far, we've registered 1,015 earth-moving and mining equipment. 647 have been registered and fitted with tracking devices. There are an additional 600 equipment at the port awaiting clearance. An additional 350 tracking devices are expected by September 12, 2025 to enhance this monitoring effort. The Constitutional Review Commission is actively engaging stakeholders across the country, gathering views on how best to shape the future framework of Ghana's democracy. This inclusive approach ensures that voices of citizens, civil society, and institutions are reflected in the evolving constitutional order. Friends, internal security is important for economic progress. Pursuant to our commitment to improving security, we have earmarked 1 billion Ghana cedis to retool our security agencies. The Ministry of Energy has recently granted a declaration of commerciality for the Ebang Akoma oil and gas discoveries in Cape 3 Points, Block 4, confirming their commercial viability. This paves the way for the joint venture partners ENI Vitol, Woodfields, and the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation to proceed with a full plan of development of this oil well. This milestone brings us closer to increased oil and gas production, job creation, and enhanced energy security, reinforcing our commitment to responsible resource management for the benefit of all Ghanaians. We've also approved the construction of a second gas processing plant, GPP2, to double our national processing capacity and set the stage for cheaper, cleaner, and more reliable power generation. This landmark project alone is expected to save the country close to $500 million every 2 years by drastically cutting our reliance on expensive imported liquid fuel. Beyond the cost reduction, it is projected to create over 1,000 direct and indirect jobs, fueling both industry and livelihoods. We can all attest to the fact that the looming threat of doomsday we inherited in January this year has been averted. Through strategic interventions and swift action, power supply has remained stable across the country, ensuring uninterrupted electricity for households, businesses, and essential services. We've made significant strides in restoring fiscal decentralization. In the past 8 years, only 40% to 50% of the District Assembly's Common Fund was reaching metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies, constraining their capacity to deliver local services. Our government has reversed this trend. District assemblies are now receiving 80% of their allocation directly. Of the 7.57 billion allocated for DACF this year, approximately 6.1 billion has gone straight to local assemblies, with a minimum of 25 million allocated to each MMDA. Already the first quarter disbursement of 987.97 million has been released to kickstart district level development. To ensure focused impact, Cabinet has approved expenditure guidelines for the districts. 25% of the fund is to support design and construction of what we call 24-hour economy model markets. 10% is allocated for health, with a minimum of 2 CHIPS compounds per district. Education, 1 kg, 1 primary, 1 GS block, potable water, at least 10 boreholes, environmental sanitation and school furniture. 7.5% for MMDA administration, monitoring and evaluation, and 20% is allocated to finish and finished legacy projects. Simultaneously, all statutory funds such as 2.03 billion to the National Health Insurance Fund and 2.71 billion to GET funds covering NHIS, arrears and free SHS have been released in full, underscoring our commitment to public service delivery and local empowerment. Next week, I'll cut the sword in 3 locations to signal the start of the Big Push program. The first phase understandably covers mainly the road sector. Everyone will admit that over the last 8 years, our road infrastructure has deteriorated remarkably. This year alone, almost 14 billion Ghana cedis of our oil and gold revenues have been earmarked for the Big Push program. Critical road projects such as the Ofanko and Sawam roads, which were chronically underfunded, have been transferred under the Big Push program and recently received a release of almost 1 billion cedis to ensure speedy completion by the end of second quarter of next year. My media colleagues, our reset agenda remains on course, and I've remained unwavering in my commitment not only to the promise I made to you in the run-up to the 2024 elections, but to the principles of honesty, transparency, and probity and accountability that define good governance. I'm resolute in laying foundations for economic recovery, resetting our institutions to reflect the demands of modern governance and enhanced service delivery for every Ghanaian. I'm driven by a deep determination to see the dreams of our forebears for an economically independent and self-reliant Ghana realized in our lifetime. I'm equally determined to restore Ghana's rightful place as a respected voice and actor on the global stage. With your continued trust and support, I'm confident that we will not only meet these goals, but also build a nation that serves the hopes of this generation and the aspirations of generations yet unborn. May God bless us all, and may God bless our homeland, Ghana. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. At this stage, we will delve straight into the question and answer session, which will be guided by the following rubric. There will be 1 question per questioner, and this is to ensure that we maximize the time. This program is supposed to last for 1.5 hours, and we are due to leave here at 9:30. I would also entreat you to avoid lengthy preambles to questions so that we can afford as many of you the opportunity to ask questions. There will be 5 batches of questioning with 4 questions in each batch. 2 microphones will be placed on either side of the middle row to enable these questions to be asked. So at this stage, I'll call on the ushers and stewards to position the microphones so that the questions could be asked. Okay, so the gentlemen on either side of the middle row are with the microphone. So if you want to ask a question, please put up your hand You catch my attention, I will. All right, so we have the president of the Ghana Journalists Association who is supposed to embody your collective aspirations. So I would accord him the courtesy of asking the first question. So Mr. Jumfo, you may ask the first question. After which I see Kojo Prekodankwa, and then Eko Moses of Bloomberg, and then one lady in the middle to bring the number to 4. Mr. Jumfo, you may ask your question, please.
Thank you, Honorable. Mr. President, thank you so much for this opportunity, and having been given the opportunity to set the tone for the media encounter. Permit me to commend you for availing yourself for this media encounter and for your commitment to transparency and accountability. Your willingness to face scrutiny just 8 months into your term set a commendable example of good governance. We also wish to commend you for your assurance and firm commitment to safeguarding the safety and protection of journalists across the country. Now my question, Mr. President, as you may be aware, remuneration and general working conditions in the media are not the best, especially in the state-owned media, which falls under the authority of government. This situation is a key factor in our low ranking on the World Press Freedom Index under the economic indicator. What measures is your government putting in place to improve working conditions in the state-owned media and also to provide relief for those in the private media? Also, assault on journalists are on the rise, and I know this is of great concern to you as a journalist yourself and a proud member of the Inky fraternity. The Ghana Journalists Association would therefore like to know what your government is doing to address this disturbing trend. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Kojo, you may have the microphone now.
Good evening. My name is Kojo Prekodankwa, Kesben Media. In your remarks, you did touch on the issue of mining, and I want to commend your government with the achievements you chalked. But recently, we heard that Ghana Water Company is proposing almost about 280%